Welcome to part 3 of Where is God? Is he weak or is he mighty? Where is God in all of this? Is he able to save us or not? In part 1 I talked about him being whether he was far away and unable to help us or just near and unwilling to help us. And how that really we're kind of setting ourselves up, we're creating God in our own image and then as a way of dismissing him and saying we don't want to believe in him. When what we're trying to do, what we should be doing, is trying to see how God chooses to reveal himself, how God shows us what he's really like. And it's still hard to get beyond our prejudices and our projections, and it's still open to misinterpretation, but we have to try and move away from our concepts and our agendas, because those are just idols. So today I wanted to think about whether God was weak or mighty. And people say, if there's a God, well, why doesn't he do something about this? And this could be the coronavirus, it could be a tidal wave, it could be cancer, it could be world poverty, anything really. If he's all-knowing, he knows about it. And so if he's all-powerful, why isn't he doing something about it? So God is mighty but mean, possibly? Or is God not mighty at all? Is he just very weak? In Philip Pullman's excellent book, His Dark Materials, he portrays God as like as weak and wispy and small and helpless as a little kind of cloud or fluffy, bit of wool that might blow away at any time. And of course, if God's that weak, well, there's no point believing in him or doing anything. It's like he's completely helpless, more helpless than us. And we seem very good at making God like this or like that, and then giving ourselves a reason not to believe in him or trust in him. I've heard every excuse, but I'm sure there's others out there. But in the end, we're only hurting ourselves. We're the ones missing out on God's love, on his goodness, on the peace that really does pass all understanding, that is beyond our understanding. We're a bit like someone with ice cream, really. When you bring it out and it's all really hard and it's frozen, they go, oh, it's too cold, I don't like it. And then when it's melted, they go, it's slushy, I don't like it, it looks slushy. When actually we just want them to taste it. Just see how yummy it is. It's full of sugar and fat. And I suppose that's the first time that God's been compared to ice cream. But we really, beyond all the doubts and the questioning, which is really important, and on the reasons and the understanding, really important, there is let's just experience God. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Let's just try and trust him and love him and see what happens. Oh, where was I? Yeah, God's power, weak or mighty. Well, the thing is that once again we start from our own understandings. We think of power in human terms. So a racing car is powerful because it's loud and noisy and goes very fast. A tank is powerful because it's invulnerable and nothing can hurt it. Or we think a ruler is powerful because they can control all their people. That's a powerful ruler. They make them do what they want. Money is powerful because it can give us anything and make things happen and make people do what you want. That's only one way of looking at power, isn't it? I mean, if you're God, you don't need money. You can create as much stuff as you like. You don't need it to buy stuff. So money's a bit irrelevant. Think about the power in a dandelion pushing through solid concrete. It does not take long for a road, concrete way, buildings to not be used or whatever, for dandelions and weeds to push through. How strong, but they're just a weed. I can just pull them out, but yet they can break concrete. Different kind of power. There's power in the love of a mother who has to give up her child to help it survive. I don't know if you caught the Prue Leith documentary about her adopted Cambodian child, but her birth mother had to give her up. In the midst of all the atrocities that were happening, she thought the best chance for my child is to give it away. What a power about allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be hurt. Instead, philosophers try to play games about the idea of God's omnipotence. Oh, if God's all-powerful, can he make a wall so high that he can't jump over it? And it's a trick, isn't it? Because we think the answer should be yes, because God can do anything. He can make a wall so high he can't jump over it. But no, because he's God, he could jump over any wall. So the answer must be no. But really, the answer is yes and no. God can do both. Because he's God. Because if he was so small that we could trap him and understand him with our little logic word game, he wouldn't be much of a God, would he? But God can limit himself. That's another thing we don't really understand. If we were omnipotent, all-powerful, we can't imagine that we wouldn't use that power all the time to change things and create things and do things. But God chooses when to act, and he chooses when not to act. And he chooses not to act in order to give us our freedom, that we might be free. And we don't understand how free we are. You know, animals have no freedom. A baby animal can walk within a few hours. Nobody teaches it. It just knows what to do. Animals can feed and hunt even, with never being taught. Some animals, their parents just leave their young once they're born in an egg or whatever. They just leave them because they know what to do. They get on with it. I've got some caterpillars. Nobody told them to turn into chrysalises. They just did it because it's instinct. Scientists are always testing for actually how much of this is inbred in animals and how much is passed on. And very few choices are made in the animal kingdom. They just get on and do because that's what it feels like, because they know they should. Yeah, you see there's some pigeons doing what they should out there. And their idea of mating is nothing to do with, has no miles away, isn't it, from human relationships and human love, and the idea of consent, or the idea of timing, or the idea of all those kinds of things. We have choice. We are the ones who are free, who are even aware that we're free. It's an incredible gift. We talk about robots and artificial intelligence these days, and we feel quite threatened by them. But actually they don't have free will. They do what we program them to do. And God gives us freedom out of our love, out of love for us, and allows us to do as we please, as we see best. And why? Yeah, why? Let's speculate. Is it the only way we'll truly know what is best? If we actually have a go and see that some things are worse and some things are better? Is it a consequence of the fall? You know, that we took the apple, we wanted to be like God, knowing good and evil, and now we do. Is it a gift? Is it that we were given this earth to rule over and we assumed the role of God's ambassadors? So we're responsible. The earth is ours to look after, to be God's over. Is it because it's the only way that love can truly be, is if it's free? If you love something, set it free. If it loves you, it'll come back. But it seems there is a payoff, doesn't it? That we live in a broken world where people are free to do bad things, and the consequences of all of that, which hurts a lot of other people, where even the natural world seems to be broken. So earthquakes and volcanoes and things cause suffering. And yet, in the midst of all that brokenness, we are free to live how we choose. Or, we don't really have a choice, but the alternative would be to give all that up. To be not free. To be like animals or robots. And the world is ordered like a clock or a machine. And nothing bad happens because nothing's allowed to happen. So can anything good be said to happen either? Don't know. Prisoners would tell you they'd rather have freedom any day than the order that is being locked up. Wow, today we're locked up, aren't we? And this analogy, this lockdown. We're safe, we're secure, but we're not free. And I think most of us would rather be free. So God is not weak, God is mighty, but just not like we think. The strength of Jesus to not take control at his crucifixion. The power of Jesus to hold us in his arms in love. The might of Jesus to bear our wrongs and throw them away. The power of God's Holy Spirit to change our lives completely. God's might to give us the freedom to choose to love him or to reject him, and all that follows from that. Where is God in all this? He is near and he is mighty.